"Oh yes," said Anne, eagerly. The storm was grand. It threw up. Julian and Dick both kicked her under the table. George couldn't reach her or she would most certainly have kicked her too. Anne stared at the boys angrily, with tears in her eyes. "Now what's the matter?" asked Aunt Fanny. "Did somebody kick you, Anne?" "Well, really, this kicking under the table has got to stop." "Poor Anne will be covered with bruises." "What did the sea throw up, dear?" "It threw up the most enormous waves," said Anne, looking defiantly at the others. She knew they had thought she was going to say that the sea had thrown up the wreck, but they were wrong. They had kicked her for nothing. "Sorry for kicking you, Anne," said Julian. "My foot sort of slipped." "So did mine," said Dick. "Yes, Aunt Fanny, it was a magnificent sight on the island. The waves raced up that little inlet, and we had to take our boat almost up to the top of the low cliff there. I wasn't really afraid of the storm," said Anne. "In fact, I wasn't really as afraid of it as tea." Everyone knew perfectly well that Anne was going to mention Timothy, and they all interrupted her at once, speaking very loudly. Julian managed to get a kick in again. "Ooh!" said Anne. "The rabbits were so tame," said Julian, loudly. "We watched the cormorants," said Dick, and George joined in too, talking at the same time. "The jackdaws made such a noise, they said chack, 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 all the time." "Well, really, you sound like jackdaws yourselves, talking all at once like this," said Aunt Fanny, with a laugh. "Now, have you all finished?" "Very well, then, go and wash your sticky hands. Yes, George, I know they're sticky, because I made that gingerbread, and you've had 3 slices. Then you had better go and play quietly in the other room, because it's raining, and you can't go out." "But don't disturb your father, George. He's very busy." The children went to wash. "Idiot," said Julian to Anne. "Nearly gave us away twice." "I didn't mean what you thought I meant the first time," began Anne indignantly. George interrupted her. "I'd rather you gave the secret of the wreck away than my secret about Tim," she said. I do think you've got a careless tongue. Yes, I have, said Anne, sorrowfully. I think I'd better not talk at mealtimes anymore. I love Tim so much I just can't seem to help wanting to talk about him. They all went to play in the other room. Julian turned a table upside down with a crash. We'll play at Rex, he said. This is the wreck. Now we're going to explore it. The door flew open and an angry, frowning face looked in. It was George's father. What was that noise? He said. George, did you overturn that table? I did, said Julian. I'm sorry, sir. I quite forgot you were working. Any more noise like that and I shall keep you all in bed tomorrow, said his Uncle Quentin. Georgina, keep your cousins quiet. The door shut and Uncle Quentin went out. The children looked at one another. Your father's awfully fierce, isn't he? Said Julian. I'm sorry I made that row. I didn't think.